Hello and welcome. Good night, everyone. And so thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Welcome to UWI Credit Union Health and Wellness Series. And this is a project that was supported by the UWI Credit Union Educational Committee. Tonight, we have with me two lovely guests, Ms. Natasha Grant, who is the chairperson of UWI Credit Union Educational Committee and Director. And we have Ms. Saunders, Marlene Saunders, who is the Vice President of UWI Credit Union and Secretary of the Educational Committee. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Hernandez. I'm a holistic health and wellness coach, esthetician, and foodie. I support women or individuals to create their healthy lifestyle by developing healthy relationships with food, self-care, and finding nourishment in other areas of your lives. So this afternoon's topic is stress and toxicity. A big one. And in the time of a pandemic now, stress is something that is big on all our minds.
Yes.
But I have something for you. Do you know that we all have a superpower that we can use when it comes to battling stress? Hint, hint. It's not drinking wine or eating ice cream.
Oh, I was headed in that direction.
So tell me, I'm curious, what is your go-to when you are stressed?
Sometimes I just, pull in to my little quiet corner and reflect. Because I think that way it brings me down.
Right.
It calms me. Because if I stay at 100, I will go crazy.
That's it. But what about you?
I just get a place where me alone, and I sit probably listen to some music, and sometime the glass of wine. I have to be honest, sometimes the glass of wine does it.
Awesome. And from our viewing audience, anyone would like to share what is their go-to when it comes to managing stress? So you can share, and we will follow up in terms of the comments and see what is happening. Awesome. So when it comes to stress always gets a bad rep, and probably rightly so. But there is good stress and there's bad stress. There's when you remember, throw your mind back to falling in love and getting all those little butterflies, right? Or even probably having your first interview. All these things this is normal. So stress is really our body's natural response to protect us. So for instance, when we are being chased by a dog, or we are late on a deadline on work and it's 12 o'clock and we know when they're finished, all of these things is our body's natural response to stress, and that's okay. The thing is, when our bodies remain in that state of stress, that's where problems begin. And so understanding what stress really is important, and learning how to deal with it in safe ways that is not destructive to us. And it's important to, when we start having the discussion around stress, that we also include our younger ones, because we are seeing now more than ever younger ones having a lot of stress-related issues that may not necessarily have been the case before.
That is so true.
All right? So back to the question, what is your superpower? Any ideas?
Marlene, I feel I'll let you answer first.
What is my superpower? What with me is I find things to do, or I make time for things that I long wanted to do. Maybe gardening. Now lately it's been paw painting, because I get into YouTube and paw paint. Sometimes it comes out how you plan, sometimes it doesn't come out how you plan. But
and that's all in the creative expression,
but
right?
I find something to do to take my mind in a different direction.
And that's awesome. And from the audience, online viewers online, we have things like prayer, gardening, dancing, cycling. So all these things are really healthy ways of coping with stress. And that's important. So one of the superpowers that we all possess, and something that we can all do, is breath and consciousness. Our breathing and consciousness. And just for our viewing audience, there's a spoiler alert. As we go through, there is going to be opportunities for you to be able to win prizes. So based on the information we're sharing here this afternoon, right? So all of us have the ability to manage our breath and how we think. The thing is, our body's natural response is for flight. Our brain and our body is always working to protect us. Unfortunately, it is not able to tell the difference between good stress and bad stress, right? So what happens is that we may get a bad drive and we pull, or we have that reflex response. We have the heart racing, the normal stress response. But generally, after that episode has passed, we go back into a more or less calm state and we're able to go out now. Unfortunately, many times we are dealing with so many different things all at once that our minds never turn off. Our body remains in that state of stress on an ongoing basis. And while acute stress is what we call the short-term response, once we go into, there are 3 stages of stress, and when our bodies continue in that ongoing stress state, that's when problems start. So one of the first things that in most times is interrupted is our sleep. We start getting physical manifestations. What are some of the things that happen to you when you feel stressed?
Perspire. Heavy. Or you might get a little tension, headache, the twitching of the eyes.
Yep.
You know,
the
so
pain in the back of the neck for me.
Of the neck.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Restlessness, you take longer to drop asleep, or you can maintain sleep, or sometimes you find when you get a certain age, you find you need to go to the bathroom more often than the normal to pass water, so that you feel the reaction in your body.
Definitely.
If you know your body, you know there's something wrong.
Yeah. And so we all know we can sense when it's wrong, but sometimes the problem is that we just keep plodding along because we don't have a choice. Right? We don't have a choice. And so what is happening, so that's where there's a whole connection now comes with stress. When our body is stressed, our body releases the hormone cortisol, which is our stress hormones, along with a couple other hormones, right? That actually places extra glucose in our body because our body is preparing for that flight or fight mode. What happens when that starts going on is that it signals to other body parts to be on high alert. Things that are not necessary, so you start having problems with digestion, because at that point in time, if you have to be running, your body don't need to be digesting, right? So a lot of other functions tend to shut down. We stop being able to sleep properly, and we start feeling that sluggish, and we lose interest or motivation to get things done, and it affects us nervously. So now they have been able to determine that stress actually affects our gene expression, right? So when they have done over the years, they have done these tests and shows that it actually it increases aging, and it also creates a lot of other illnesses. So literally, stress gets us sick. So it's all connected, and what that happens, it means that most times most persons tend to reach for the sugar, the comfort foods, the things that really taste good, the fatty stuff, high sugar, high calorie. And what happens, it sends us in a spiral because we have all this extra glucose, all this extra cortisol lurking around in our bodies. And what happens is that we start getting this stubborn belly fat, we start putting on weight, and it sends us down in a spiral. And not being able to sleep as well also increases our toxin load. So it's a whole connection between stress and toxins. And what happens as well is that toxins actually stored in our fat tissues, or adipose or fatty tissues. So it's you see where this is going, right? Yeah. So therefore, it's really important for us to be able to find practical ways that we could implement on a daily basis to be able to deal with stress.
Educate us.
Right. So one of the things is literally when we're in a stressful situation, and I always recommend whatever we implementing, include the entire family with it, because that's what really makes us be able to be consistent, and it will also hold us accountable. Because if you tell your kids that every evening at a certain time we're doing something, you are sure they're going to hold you tight, right? So it's important to get the whole family involved. So one of the first things is stop. Literally, stop. Any idea what that might mean?
That does seem so simple, you know.
So the first part of it would be for the S, which is the stop. It's really just to stop and sense what is happening around us. to be able to have that clarity as to what is taking place. The T is to take 3 deep breaths. So we center ourselves with 3 deep breaths. The O, observe. And really it's around identifying our emotions, because many times we have emotions that we are angry, or we may have other emotions that we are not able to identify. And the P would be around pause. So we want to pause and then think about how we can proceed in a way that would be supportive of not only ourselves, but others around us. The P could also be for prioritize, because if we have 100 things that we're trying to deal with all at once, I mean, we have all been there.
This session is really interesting.
So what happens eventually is that we get nowhere very fast. Yeah. Things start piling up and it leads us back into that circular spiral. So it's simple, we stop, we observe our emotions, observe what is happening around us. We take deep breaths, center ourselves, and then we proceed in a manner that is supportive of not only ourselves, but those around us. And this also helps for kids as well, in terms before they react, if they have this little pause section, and it doesn't have to be long, mentally do it, they know before they react, it's an easy go-to for them as well. Right? So what are some of the things you do when in terms of prioritizing? So it may mean writing down how we feel. Yeah?
Or having a conversation with the children. Because that tends to work with me.
Yeah.
You know, so at least we're all on the same page and we can just take it down and take it forward.
Excellent, yeah.
Given the current environment, you know, it has to be holistic, because so much has changed in how we operate at home and how families operate, mothers and now teachers, and they never signed up for the teaching part, and parents have to pull between earning and being at home, so that there's a lot of disruption now in the home, so that it's very, very relevant how the stopping and reviewing and scanning to see where we going, why are things out of sync, you know?
True.
I think it's critical.
And I think, and you can tell me what you think about this as well. I think a lot of times, some of our own stress comes from us not being able to identify how we feel. Many times we say yes when we really want to say no. That's the source of stress, because now you're thinking, oh man, how am I going? Why did I say this? And also in terms of helping kids identify what they are feeling, it allows them as well to be able to start expressing themselves. Definitely. And that all of that part of it helps us have a holistic approach in terms of reducing stress. So we have stop. So we have 5 tools. Remember, we said we're going to look at 5 tools that we're going to use. The other one is breath work, meditation. So really and truly, when we look at our nervous system, is all tied into our stress response. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is our flight or flight response. So it gets our bodies all revved up and ready to go, prepared for action. And then the other part of it is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. And the really and truly for us to be able is to find that balance, that medium in between. So it's not that we want to eliminate either one, but really about being able to find that balance in between. So we'd like to ask our audience in terms of what are some of the things they do to be able to maintain that balance.
Yes, let's bring in our audience, our watching audience.
Yeah, and in the interim, tell me, what are some of the things you do in terms of finding that balance, in terms of getting back to that rest and digest response?
Take a rest, a quick nap, you know, just to put the body back to start. Because, I mean, once you stop, there's always that start.
That's correct.
So for me, it's just to take a little rest.
Great. And one of the things that when we want to look at is implementing a mindfulness practice. And one of the things that most persons go through is meditation. And what that does, it really gets us back into that balanced, stable zone, neutral zone. But to be honest, meditation could be a bit challenging and daunting for many. Getting your brain to go from 100 to zero. When you have a million things recirculating in that brain, it's difficult.
It is not the easiest.
So what I found is an easy way to introduce persons to a mindfulness practice is starting with breath work. And there's a breath work that by Dr. Weil that I really love. Okay. It's the 4-7-8 breathwork. And probably our viewers as well, I'd love for you to try this. It's a 4-7-8 breath, and I'm going to guide you through it. So on the count of 4, we're going to inhale, hold our breaths, and for the count of 7, and then we're going to slowly release that breath through our mouth for the count of 8. Right. Now, this is something that you can do anywhere and anytime, right? The important thing is being consistent. So you can close your eyes, you get the most benefit from it, but it's not a requirement. All right, so we're going to begin. Make sure that we are all comfortable. So we're going to inhale on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We are holding for 7. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to exhale through our mouths loudly at the count of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can open your eyes and tell me, how do you feel? Did you notice any shift in terms of how you feel right now?
It clears your head.
Yeah,
definitely.
A little more relaxed.
Yeah. So it's difficult. It may be a little bit challenging at first, but the more you practice it and the more frequently you do it, it becomes easier. So mindfulness practice really would work if we are consistent. So if it's only when we start getting the pain behind the neck or the headache, we say, oh, okay, let's do it.
Take a time out.
But that's a little too far gone, but
right. So being consistent. So an easy way to remember it is raw. Raw right after work. So as soon as you get into the car, you sit, you relax, you do it. Right? To be consistent. The other thing would be RPM. And this is one that you can, when you would like to guess what that means. If raw is right after work, RPM.
I find you want to put us on the spot, Lisa.
So rise, pee, meditate. I'm sure you can remember that one. Rise, pee, meditate.
That
so
will stick with me.
As you get up, you know you do your mindfulness practice. So you start with your breath work, eventually you graduate to your meditation. So just a quick question. We're throwing it out to our audience. We have talked about 2 mindfulness practices so far that we could implement. One is stop. And can anyone in the audience remember what stop stands for? So we'll be coming back to the audience shortly because there is a prize that is available for what stop stands for. All right. So now we have 2 tools so far. We know we have our stop. We have our breath work that we sure we can remember now to do daily. Raw, RPM. Right. And the next one is focusing on nutrition. Right? Because remember, we spoke about a holistic approach.
Yes.
And generally, we know when we stress what we reach for. The Coke, the ice cream, the
slice
cake.
of cake.
Right? But we also understand the flip side of it, what that does. It increases our toxic load. It really puts us in a spiral where we start putting on weight. It
all the
ages
wrong
all the
places.
wrong places, right? Especially for us women. Right? So we need to find healthier ways of doing this. And some of the things that helps us is really focusing on clean eating, reducing our level of processed foods, eating whole foods. And especially during periods of stress, it's important to increase our minerals, our magnesium, and our zinc levels. So some of the things that we'd want to eat is our leafy green veggies. So I know that's a challenge.
Children, bear with us adults.
So there are easy ways to incorporate it. And I always give people the joke. When I now started on my own health and wellness journey, I mean, I was finding all the excuses in the world. Oh my goodness, I'm tired, I can't cook, I can't do this. How can I possibly get greens in every day?
Correct.
And one of my mentors simply looked at me and said, Lisa, why don't you make a pot of callaloo on a Sunday, freeze it in ice cubes, and take down a couple ice cubes every day and warm it up? And I mean, I was like, I couldn't think of that, you know? So it's really about getting creative when it comes to our nutrition. So we may find it hard to get the kids to eat the greens off the plate, but start making it fun. If they are part of that prep, if they start growing their own veggies, their little lettuce and stuff, it really have them part of that process. Another thing is sneaking these vegetables into different stuff. For instance, in meatballs, you add some spinach in your meatballs, or blend it in the sauce. You know, add it to your smoothies. It's also about being prepared in terms of meal prepping, because the reality is we have such little time during the week.
That's it.
But if we have to remain consistent in having it, we really need to be prepared. So it probably may mean on a weekend we chop up vegetables, we cut up our smoothie packs, we freeze it, right? When you're making a pie or a casserole, you make two, double your recipe. Freeze one and use one. So one time you just pop it in the oven and it's easier. So it's really about us becoming creative in terms of ways that we can increase it, and also in terms of eating lean protein as well. So we do have a winner. Excitement. So we have a winner, Avril Patterson.
Well done, Avril.
Awesome.
Well done.
Congratulations. And Avril would win a free ebook on combating stress.
Excellent.
So congratulations, Avril. Right. So we know now in terms of nutrition, so we focus on lean proteins, foods high in zinc, your pumpkin seeds, your green leafy vegetables, your chlorophyll. And the other part of that is working on our sleep. So sleep, let's face it.
Yeah.
I think we're a nation more now of sleep deprived. And many times we are also stress can also come from and impact us from our digital devices. We're constantly connected. Connected versus sleep, right?
No comments.
So what do you think are some of the things that we can do in order to be able to improve our sleep and our sleep patterns?
Like one of the things I've done is I put my, on my phone on my TV a timer that says,
oh, I love that. Awesome.
So that when you turn on the phone, it's in black mode and it says, well, time to sleep, because I got into this binge watching where I watch a series, and when the series is going so good, and I look, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and so that you realize what's going on, and that happened, watching a series, that happened 2-3 days for the weekend. I say, but what is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock? I said, So you have to kind of reprogram what you do, and it's easy to happen in this COVID.
Yep.
Because sometimes the week goes so
time flies by so quickly.
Being limited in the COVID, this whole COVID experience where you don't do the things you're accustomed doing, and you're doing too much of one thing, that you have to kind of reorder. You have to really scan and look and see 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. Is this really good? And then you have to consciously make an effort, because the kids do it too. You tell them to turn off the phone, and if you pull the door, you see them under the cover, and it's
you see the light under the door.
You know, so that that is one of the things that I think has gotten out of hand with the whole COVID situation. That not only the kids but the adults.
That's correct.
Because you're just at home, so
you're home and you can't.
So
go
that time,
Yeah. And what are some of the other things that we can look at?
Well, for me, to be honest, sleep comes really easy.
Oh, you're blessed.
No, it's not I'm really blessed, but because I keep going.
Right.
So when the sleep comes, as I say, once it knocks, I answer.
Awesome.
So, but thinking of it, because as I said, I'm always really active and going, I think for me, sleep, it fluctuates. So one day I will go to bed early. By the time news, I wouldn't even see the news sometimes. And then after that, sometimes I'm up, as Marlene said, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, but wait, that's the time already? No, man, you know? Time to take it down. So I guess, as you rightfully said, it's about getting the balance. So my off days, I'm out early. My hype days, I'm up late. So I have to come to terms now to get that balance.
And one of the things that we can do, and all do us for getting balance, is creating rituals, creating a sleep ritual. Probably try going to bed 1 hour earlier. Creating an environment for sleep, probably looking at getting electronics out of the bedroom. keeping the temperature correct, the lighting correct to really induce sleep. We could even try things like aromatherapy. So I want to challenge everybody to at least set your alarms to go to bed, or reminders to go to bed at least 1 hour earlier this week. If we started 1 hour earlier, get into the habit, the routine, the pattern, and we work from there. Small steps at a time.
I'm willing to try.
Because sleep, the importance of sleep is that it really is our rest and digest process. It helps our bodies. It also part of our detoxification process. And at different times of stages of sleep, different things happen. And part of that process is where our liver does a big part of our detoxification. So when we don't get the required number of sleep, we're actually increasing our toxic load.
But Lisa,
it's also aging us.
Let me ask you something. You know, there are times when you go to bed early, and then at 2 you get up, and that's it. You cannot go back to sleep. So you literally, like, you break your pattern. And I find that is what happens to me sometimes. If I go to bed very early sometimes, by 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll be up. And I'll be up and wondering, oh God, I have to go to work in the next 3, 4 hours. I need to try and get back to sleep. But it's not the easiest thing to come by.
So two of the things is also twofold in terms of our bodies are not going into that REM sleep because we are not in that relaxed state. And that's one of the things. We may not be realizing, but our minds are constantly working. Right? So some of the things that are helpful when your sleep is interrupted, and it has worked for me as well, is sometimes just taking out and journaling. Get whatever is, or do a brain dump, get whatever is on your mind. So I always sleep with a notepad and pen on the side of my bed, and I have them around the house because whenever I get an idea, I need to write it down. Right? Yeah. But it's good to do a brain dump and get it out. Also, there are music that you can listen to that will help create that mood. Salt lamps as well, and other things that you could use, aromatherapy. All those things help to create that state of relaxation. It also helps to do breath work or meditation before you go to sleep as well. Or even when that happens, you tune into that. So those are some of the things that you can do. And eventually your body gets into a routine. Because we all have that internal clock. But the problem is our internal clocks have been so interrupted.
Yes.
Right? So in the past, I always give this joke, in the past, the older folks, when it comes around 6 o'clock and the sun starts to go down, everybody retreats inside and starts preparing for sleep. No, our bodies, circadian rhythms are now interrupted because we are constantly being bombarded with the blue light, electronics, so we are not getting that, our body's not getting that opportunity to prepare to go into that rest and relax. What we're actually asking our bodies to do is to go from 100 to 0 all at once. So it's really about creating those patterns and rhythms and having practical things that we can do to help us to get into that state. So the other thing that we look at is also toxins. And toxins is a two-edged sword. So when we are stressed, we know what happens. Our body goes into the cycle where it also releases toxins, and then we are bombarded by environmental toxins. And these things wreak havoc on our liver, our entire digestive system, and we've seen it more and more. So when we look at labels, there are a long list of ingredients, and many of them we can't even pronounce.
Can't even see because they're so tiny on the label.
So it's important to start looking for ways that we can actually reduce our toxic load. So I'm just wondering in the audience, what are some of the ways that what you do to reduce your exposure to toxins? You want to share with us anything that you have been doing? Or
I drink a lot of water. I mean, sometimes, and this is bad, so please, audience, don't follow suit.
We are all in a learning
but there are days
process.
where I would only drink water and not eat.
Right.
You know, so I know that too, again, the balance with eating and eating on time. So as much as I may drink the water and that may help, it is not all that I need to do. Right. So I am learning as I go. I'm a work in progress.
Awesome. We all are.
Yes, I am a work in progress.
Yeah. And I'm sure persons in the audience will have the same experience. We all just struggle from time to time. Yeah. What are some of the things that you do to reduce your toxins?
One week I try to come off a meat. I don't eat beef at all because I have a problem. It doesn't digest. So, but I try to come off a meat. Is practice. Water. I'm now in a place I could drink the amount of water I should be drinking in Sydney a long time.
Right.
I'm not a water fanatic. But I tried to add other food to the diet. But try to eat a lot of salads. Put anything into a salad. Anything you could make in a salad. If you have shatine, put shatine. And you could experiment. I experiment to make a salad manageable and eatable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but water has been my challenge. I'm just now getting there.
Great. So far in our journey in terms of practical steps to stress and toxins, we dealt with stop. We dealt with breath work. We dealt with nutrition. And we are now dealing with toxins, actual toxins itself. So who can remember what RAW stands for? So RAW was related to our breath work, and it was also a key indicator for us how we can make this consistent, right? So we should throw it out to the audience. Here's an opportunity to win a token. And right, so we continue our discussion in the interim on toxins. And some of the things we can do on a daily basis to reduce our toxin load is reduce things like use of plastics. Even BPA-free, there's still small particles of plastic that leaches into the water. So it may mean being conscious of walking around with your own bottle, be it a glass bottle or a stainless steel bottle. We're reducing the use of things like Teflon-coated pots. All these things are carcinogenic. That's correct, right? Eating foods in plastic. That's correct. Also looking at things like increasing eating organic foods. So when we say organic, the older folks grew up on eating meat that was from cows that were grazed on grass versus chickens that ate from within the yard versus the processed feeds, because a lot of them are pumped with hormones. So where possible, we choose organic, where we do go for that. Right?
Somebody with homegrown chicken.
And a simple way of also detoxifying our bodies is through exercise. Our skin is the largest organ. When we exercise, we respire, and as a result, that's a beautiful option for detoxification as well. So guys, I'm excited to tell you that we do have a winner, Nikki Alex.
Yay!
Congrats, Nikki. And Nikki wins tonight a floor cleaner, a do-it-yourself floor cleaner, which is toxin-free. Right? Excellent. So and a little later on, we'll be going into that in terms of how we can, even our cleaning supplies, things that go at least for a list of 5. Things that you could pronounce, understand, natural. Where possible, do it yourself, right? So you use things like baking soda, lemon, vinegar. Where possible, make and reduce it, because now they're realizing the impact of toxins even on kids and how it's affecting them, right? Right or wrong. So we have covered the 5 things. We have covered stop. We have covered our breath work. We have covered nutrition. We have covered sleep. And we have covered reducing our toxin load, right? And this is by no way an exhaustive list.
No, it isn't.
Right?
It really
but it's a start. And the important thing is to start small and be consistent. So I'd like to throw out from the audience, what are your thoughts on what we would have shared? What are some of the things that you are doing in your own life on a daily basis to cope with stress? And if you have any questions or concerns around what we may have talked about that you'd like us to dig a little deeper into.
Don't be bashful.
And as I said, it's important that once we start any of these things, we involve the entire family. If from as kids, they learn the importance of toxins, they learn the importance of being able to implement a mindfulness practice, it really helps.
Of the process.
That's correct.
It gives you now the encouragement to keep going because they don't want to see you fail.
That's correct. So. That's correct. So other things that we can do that's really good is the use of at our homes as well to purify the air, reduce the loading, is to probably have a diffuser. A lot of aromatherapy. Essential oils have a lot of antibacterial and anti-fungal properties that I could use. Even the use of things like salt lamps. I actually keep a salt lamp by my desk at work, right? So it really helps in terms of emitting positive ions in the air. It has been shown to be able to change your mood, to uplift your mood, and even create that sense of relaxation as you sleep.
Calming spirit.
Calming things. So look for simple ways, start small, but the key is being consistent. Do we have any feedback from the audience in terms of some of the things that you do on a daily basis to manage your stress?
But you know, one of the things that do help, and especially in the current environment, is creating a space where you could go to. It doesn't have to be a room. It just can be a corner.
That's
it could
correct.
be, you put a plant, some flowers, but it's a space. And that when others recognize you there, they know you're in a timeout.
Oh, I love that.
You know,
I love
they
that.
know that
And they
you're going for a
respect,
timeout.
yes, so they
you know.
respect.
And it happens with kids too, you know, because we're so into each other now. Understand and give them a space to, whether it's a little desk and they have a space that you know that they don't want. We don't always want to talk to anybody. There's a period when you really don't want to connect, and because of the current environment now, we have to recognize that it's happening even with kids, to give them that space and where they could let go and recognize and respect each other, because we into each other so closely.
I love that, and that is so practical, especially where everybody's at home. Awesome. So guys, we'll be taking a short break, and we will be right back where we start showing you how you can make your own DIY cleaning products at home. So stay tuned. So in the interim, we were able to look at some of the feedback we are getting from our live audience, and a lot of persons like some of the practical tips that we're working in terms of prioritizing 1 hour earlier sleep, in terms of creating those safe spaces. I really love that suggestion, especially for kids. And so the other part of it now we're going into is around making our own DIY products, and it's really simple, guys. So here we have water. So just to let you know, everyone who would have registered would get an ebook, a workbook that will provide you with all the recipes, as well as a lot of the feedback, tips that we would have shared today in terms of stress. So here we have water, filtered water, and we're using Castle soap, which is a pure liquid soap with no parabens or the other stuff in it, and it's a ratio of 2 to 1. So we're working with 1 cup of liquid soap to 2 cups of water. So here we're going to be using about 3 cups because we're doing a big batch, and you can always make this in large batches because it really does last a long while. A key tip here is to add your water first. If you add your liquid soap first, it's going to give you tons of bubbles, right?
It's
so going with 3 cups in total. We have 6 cups of water inside. And then we're going to add our essential oils. And the essential oils that we are going to be working with are oils that are antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial. So it's safe. We did 3 there, right? Yeah, so 3 cups of water, soap. And next we're going to add lemongrass, sorry. So lemongrass oil. Now, when it's a couple drops, it's easier to work with in spoons, your measuring spoons. So in the workbook, I would give you for 30 drops how many teaspoons that will be. So we're starting off first with our lemongrass, and we're working with 3 tablespoons of lemongrass to this. And these are non-toxic. Even your kids can use it when time to clean. All right, so 3 tablespoons of lemongrass. And then we're going to work with lemon essential oil. And we're going to work with 3 teaspoons. 3 teaspoons is about 1 tablespoon. So we go with that. Right, and guys, it's as simple as that. We shake this up, and then we fill up our containers as the need be. Now, 1 ounce of this is used, 1 ounce or 2 tablespoons, so 1 gallon of warm water or hot water, and you can get an entire mopping of a floor with this. So this quantity, if you make it in large batches, it lasts a couple months. Just shake it and we fill our containers with it. And this will last you a long while. What I recommend is you keep it in a glass bottle or a sturdy bottle and use, when time to use it, you put it in a bottle that has the ounces on the side, so you don't even have to worry about how much to count. It tells you, you just pour it in and that's it. So we'll flow this up. So this is good for mopping your floors, cleaning a lot of your surfaces, anything where you have fungus and bacteria, all of it works well for this, and it's non-toxic, it's safe. Right? The other thing that we're going to make this afternoon is similar to a Lysol or Febreze spray. It's one of those antibacterial, and especially in the period of COVID, we need to have our A game on. So you can get all fancy and use vodka, but the key is really around 70% to 90% alcohol. For me, we will work with alcohol, right? So you work with rubbing alcohol, which is 70%. If you get the higher amounts, now in the pharmacies it's a bit difficult.
Would methylated spirit work also?
Methylated spirits doesn't have the, I don't see the alcohol percentage on it. So just to be on the safe side, I work with this one because I know what the percentage is, right? So we're working with this. And to this bottle, which is a 500 ml bottle, we're going to be adding tea tree oil, which is a really good essential oil in terms of having antimicrobial properties. But it's also one of those oils that you don't ever ingest, right? So just a reminder, it's something that you don't ever ingest. We're using a third teaspoon to a bottle. Right, a third teaspoon tea tree oil. We're going to work with lavender oil, which is also really good in terms of its properties when it comes to thing. We use about a quarter teaspoon. And then the other one we're going to use is eucalyptus. One of my favorites. I use this a lot in my diffusers. And then last but not least, we're going to use some lemon oil. All right, about a quarter teaspoon as well. And guys, it's that easy. Once you put it together in a bottle, you don't even have to use another bottle. If you want, you put a bottle with a spray cap on it, or you put it into smaller bottles for your kids to use around in terms of spraying. You use this on your door handles, any hard surface for cleaning, and you could use, and that's it. It's safe and non-toxic. So this is just some of the ideas that you can use. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if we have any questions coming in from the audience, our viewing audience.
And Lisa, what I like is that it's easy to make. It's
definitely. Not a lot of time. And you can get a lot of these things readily available.
Easily accessible.
And one of the things that we need to emphasize is using this as opposed to the chlorine, the amount of chlorine we use in cleaning, and how that hangs in the air and stays in the air, and the effects of chlorine on the system. That's correct. And not only that, but also on the environment as well, when it washes off into the water. Yeah, so guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this segment. We do have one other winner, which would have been a special prize for the very first person who would have logged in. And they'll be getting one of these cleaning products as well. Okay, so I understand that the person's no longer in the chat, so... Okay, whoever types I Love Wellness Wednesdays first is going to get it.
Our members are quick to the draw.
Our members.
You know, they are quick
Lisa,
to
where
the
do you
draw.
source your oils?
I normally use doTERRA oils, which are thing, but my shipment has not yet arrived. So we would have worked with these in the interim, which is okay when it comes to cleaning products, but using essential oils as well on a daily basis as part of your health and wellness routine, I prefer to go with the pure quality. A lot of them are edible.
So then our members can make contact with you in the future.
Definitely.
To have the products available. Definitely.
Good. Yeah. And so just wanted to let we have I Love Wellness Wednesdays. I think Cassandra De Freitas is the winner. Woo,
well done,
congratulations.
Cassandra. Well done.
Congratulations, Cassandra.
I know
So,
her.
Awesome. So just to let everyone know, all persons who would have registered, we do have a special offer for you. You can book a free wellness reset discovery call with me. In the ebook, you're going to get your link. It's at no charge, and where we really give you the opportunity to dig deeper in terms of your wellness goals and show you how you can achieve them. Right? So we really want to give a shout out to UWICU Credit Union Educational Committee for providing this opportunity for us. And if you enjoy this, the next session is going to be on February 24th. Stay tuned so you'll find out what the topic will be. Okay, thank you and good night, everyone.
It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been a pleasure
Thank
having
you.
you.
Thank you, same here.
And I think that we are proud to go next Wednesday.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.